Will Robinson here from Robinson's Auto, toolsandtime.com. Welcome back. Today in the shop we have this 2011 Jeep Wrangler. It came in today with the radiator sitting on the back seat. Customer purchased their own parts. They were going to attempt to fix the car themselves. Ran into a couple setbacks, and here it is today. There's also a set of spark plugs on the front seat as well. When I started it up to bring it inside, I noticed an evident misfire. Check engine lights on. It also has a misfire. I feel it. But here it is. Let's take a look at it. Today I'll be demonstrating the Kingbolen once again. This scanner has been coming in handy, and it's been leading us to the conclusion 99% of the time. Let's see how it performs here. Instead of me trying to set you guys up in there, it's Bluetooth, so let's just go over here. Diagnosis. We're gonna look up Jeep. Let's check under Chrysler. 16 pin. We're gonna do an automatic search. It's gonna take and it's gonna look for the VIN, decode it for us. And abracadabra, we have a 2011 Wrangler 3.8 V6 non-turbo. We're gonna do a health report. Let's see what the doctor has in store. Man, that was quick. So we have a cylinder 1 misfire detected. We have some stuff in the body control module and whatnot, but this is the main thing that I want to take a look at. Since they brought it in for a radiator, I want to make sure they didn't overheat it. As you can see, we have a few things here. We can get some information. We can clear the fault. We can do some activation tests. We can do some special functions. We can read the fault. Let's read the fault code. We know what the fault code is. This is a cylinder number 1 misfire. So I want to see the freeze frame data. Looks like we have many options here. I'm just going to click on the first one, see if there's anything available. There sure is. AC was off. Ambient air temp. Brake switch was applied. Engine RPM 993. So it appears that we were most likely at idle, stopped. This thing was misfiring out in the parking lot before I even moved. All right, guys, before I go too far with this Jeep, I'm gonna pull out this number 1 spark plug. Let's see if this gives us a little bit more room for you guys to see. See the coolant leak for sure. Just don't wanna give this customer high hopes. They bought this thing just assuming that the radiator needs to be replaced. There's more going on. Just have to pull that wire. There's a few things that give you a misfire. Not just a bad spark plug. You got mechanical things you got to weigh in on, and also fuel. There you go. First, we gotta get the spark plug out of it. See how she looks. Sometimes you could get some telltale signs off the plug. Champion plug in there. Currently I don't see any coolant deposits on it, which was my main worry. It's almost a continuous misfire, so maybe I'll do a continuity check. The gap is quite large. The plug looks like it potentially has been in there for a while, which gives me little hopes that someone didn't just try tuning it up prior. This one also uses wires, spark plug wires. Just out of curiosity, I want to ohm out the old spark plug. So I usually just go right to the tip and right to the tip of the electrode. 437,000 ohms. That's, you definitely don't want nothing from the top portion of your plug to the housing, because that would mean it's shorted. So let me show you that on a new one. Here we have a new auto light. Again, we're going to go right to the top. And you don't want nothing on the side, nothing on the tip. And then the very top, light back on. 4.16 thousand. So this is 4,000, 4K. And this one's over 200K, 300K. So maybe we do have something going on with this plug. Let me make sure the gap is close on the new one. And let's just start by changing that number 1 and see if that misfire clears up. Just as a quick reference, I looked up the data. It should be around 50 thousandths of an inch. I like using these wire style, and plus it helps to make the adjustment for you. The 50 thousandths seems to be right on the mark. So we're going to install this into number 1 and see if that clears up that misfire. Should have took you guys to the tailpipe before I called it, but I didn't want the vehicle to get too hot on me either. You know, so I'm hoping you guys were able to pick it up on the camera. I'll be able to tell once I review the footage. We'll find out soon enough. It's just a faulty spark plug. What's the chances? All right. Plug that wire in. Good. Put the air box back up. I don't have to go super crazy with this. We'll know right away. I think they got lucky. That's all it was. Nice and smooth. No more popping and carrying on out the tailpipe like it was doing before. I wish I would have got you guys back here. With that, I feel a lot better knowing that it has all original plugs in it, or something with very high mileage on them. They weren't reading very good as far as you've seen on the bench. So I feel a lot better for the customer. Now I'm just going to continue through with their requests to replace the radiator and the remaining plugs. That was just an initial step before we put too much time into the vehicle. We're going to take and start on the hardest side first. We already replaced the number 1 spark plug, so I have 2 more spark plugs that are a little tough to get to on this side, and then we'll jump over to the easy side, and then it's all downhill from there. So we're going to take and kind of push that back like so, and that exposes the next wire in line for us. We'll pop the cover off of that. They only brought plugs, so I'm not sure if the wires were ever done on this or not, but would have been a good time to do them. All right. Sometimes these are super tight. That one wasn't as bad as the number one. Alright. These plugs are pretty sharp, so. Alright, just like I demonstrated with the other one, I always like to double check. They called for 50 thousandths on this one, and as you can see, it just barely squeezes through, so it's perfect. Alright guys, run that down and tighten her up. Alright, I'll leave the torque specs for you. Then we're going to put that wire on, move to the next one. Right, I'm going to try my best to get the same setup. So far I used the same identical setup for all three plugs. So I'm going to try to attempt the last one. It's really hard to see on this bank, guys, so I'm just showing you how I can do it from up top. If you have your inner wheel well off, it's a little bit easier as well. But just going to knock this last one out. The other side I'll be able to give you a much better demonstration on. I like to start with the hardest side first. Okay, got it. Okay, just going to run that the rest of the way out. Got her out. Now we're going to put her new one in. Take and put this back on. All looks good. Now we'll jump to the other side. This side, like I said, I'll be able to show you a little bit better. Just gonna reach back. I like to give the boot a little turn and pull it off. These wires are marks that are most likely original. So I'll recommend a set of wires, but let's see if I can do this with a longer extension so I don't have to put my hand down there. There we go, it's tight. You ever hear the law of the lever? If you have a bigger ratchet, don't be afraid to use it. So I have a 1/2 inch drive 5/8 just for breaking these bad boys loose. That's what you call the law of the lever. Got the new plugs. Once again, I'll just go through the whole set. I got a better feel for the little guy. Like I said, I'll leave the torque specs for you, just in case. $15 to 20 foot-pounds is usually a good ballpark. Put our boots back on. Turn it, and you'll feel it. You'll feel a click. I know I'm in your way. There you go. This one I don't think was routed correctly. So we're going to reroute this one a little bit. So I ain't pulling so hard. We're ready to put the intake duct back on. Air cleaner. Duct back on. Install this wire, push this locking tab back in place, get a screwdriver. Let's start this thing up. Fingers crossed. That sounds pretty good so far. No more misfire. Everything's back in its looms. Plug wires are all in place. Air box is tight. Almost forgot. Gotta tuck this breather in. I got my dongle hooked up. This thing really scans this car fast. This we're gonna clear out. I'm just gonna do a general wipe of it. This will pretty much show us what's a hard fault and what isn't. Engine cannot be running. Hope we turn that off. Keys on. Okay, so that SRS circuit is a hard fault. I'll turn the key off. No more check engine light. TPMS light even went out, but I'm expecting that one to come back. But yep, TPMS light came right back on. So that's a hard fault. But the cylinder one misfire feels better. I don't feel that anymore.